Hi everyone, I'm Jonathan Allen, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to talk about dividends, what they are, how they work, and why so many investors pay close attention to them when building a long-term portfolio. If you're new here, this channel is all about breaking down financial concepts in plain, simple language. No complicated jargon, no shortcuts, just real education. So if that sounds like something you want more of, hit that subscribe button and join the community. Now, let's get into it. So what exactly is a dividend? A dividend is a portion of a company's profits that it pays out to its shareholders. Think of it this way. When you own shares in a company, you own a small piece of that business. And when the business does well and generates profit, some companies choose to share a portion of that profit with the people who own it. That payment is called a dividend. Not every company pays dividends. Some companies, especially younger or fast-growing ones, prefer to reinvest all their profits back into the business to fuel growth. But many established, stable companies, especially in sectors like banking, energy, and consumer goods, have a long history of paying dividends regularly to their shareholders. Now, let's talk about the different types of dividends, because not all dividends are paid the same way. The most common type is a cash dividend. This is exactly what it sounds like. The company sends cash directly to shareholders, usually deposited into their brokerage account. Most dividend-paying companies do this on a quarterly basis, meaning 4 times a year. Then, there are stock dividends. Instead of paying cash, the company gives shareholders additional shares. So if you own 100 shares and the company issues a 5% stock dividend, you'd end up with 105 shares. No cash changes hands. Your ownership simply grows. There's also something called a special dividend. This is a one-time payment that a company makes outside of its regular schedule, usually when it has had an exceptionally profitable period and wants to pass some of that on to shareholders. These aren't guaranteed to happen again, so they're treated separately from regular dividends. So how is a dividend actually calculated? Companies decide how much to pay per share. For example, if a company declares a dividend of $1 per share and you own 50 shares, you would receive $50. It's straightforward math. There's also a term called dividend yield, which helps investors compare dividend payments across different stocks. Dividend yield is calculated by dividing the annual dividend payment by the current share price, then multiplying by 100 to get a percentage. So if a stock is priced at $50 and pays $2 in dividends per year, the yield would be 4%. This figure helps investors understand how much they're earning in dividends relative to what they paid for the stock. It's one of the numbers investors look at when evaluating whether a dividend stock fits their strategy. That said, a high dividend yield isn't always a positive sign on its own. Sometimes it simply means the stock price has dropped significantly, which is why it's important to look at the full picture rather than one number in isolation. Now let's talk about how to review dividend-paying stocks, what to actually look at. The first thing many investors look at is dividend history. Has the company been paying dividends consistently? For how many years? A company that has paid and gradually increased its dividend over many years is generally seen as more stable than one that just started paying recently. The second thing to look at is the payout ratio. This tells you what percentage of the company's earnings are being paid out as dividends. A very high payout ratio, say close to 100%, could mean the company is paying out almost everything it earns, leaving little room to reinvest or handle a difficult financial period. A more moderate payout ratio is often considered healthier and more sustainable over time. Third, look at the company's overall financial health. Dividends come from profits. If a company's revenue is declining or it's taking on a lot of debt, that could eventually affect its ability to keep paying dividends. This is why dividends are just one part of a broader analysis, not the only factor. One more thing worth understanding is the concept of important dividend dates. The declaration date is when the company officially announces it will be paying a dividend and how much. The ex-dividend date is the cutoff. If you buy the stock on or after this date, you won't receive the upcoming dividend. You need to own the shares before this date to qualify. The record date is when the company checks its records to confirm which shareholders are eligible, and the payment date is when the dividend is actually sent out to shareholders. Understanding these dates matters because timing your purchase incorrectly could mean waiting a full quarter for your first dividend payment. So to bring it all together, a dividend is a way for companies to share their profits with the people who own them. They can be paid as cash or as additional shares. They're calculated on a per-share basis, and there are key metrics like dividend yield and payout ratio that help investors evaluate them. Dividends are not a guaranteed income stream. Companies can reduce or stop paying them at any time, depending on their financial situation. But for many long-term investors, dividend-paying stocks are one tool they use as part of a broader, well-thought-out strategy. As always, this is educational content. It's not personal financial advice. Every person's financial situation is different, and before making any investment decisions, it's always worth doing your own research and, if needed, speaking with a qualified financial professional. If you found this video helpful, give it a like. It really does help more people find this content. And if you want to keep learning the fundamentals of investing in plain, simple language, subscribe so you don't miss the next video. I'm Jonathan Allen. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.